Hey everybody, Mike Naso here with an update on Tropical Storm Florence. Hope everybody had a good Labor Day weekend. I know I did. You could see Florence right there looking pretty interesting as it has been designated a tropical storm about 2 hours ago. Center has relocated itself off to the southwest and that may be significant. Behind it, Invest 91L will be taking a look at that as well. Hey, that rhymed. Here's Tropical Storm Florence as of 11 a.m., 17.3 north, 47.3 west. Winds are 40 miles an hour, but that could be significantly stronger by this time next week. West northwest, or before even this time next week. West northwest at 12, 1005 millibars, and you can see there's the center relocation off to the southwest. That shifts the entire track well to the south and west of the previous positions, and it should be a hurricane by Friday morning and it could be a major hurricane by Sunday. The Hurricane Center warns. Stacy Stewart, I met the guy at the 2005 Florida Governors Conference. He is a great forecaster, and he warns that this is still at the conservative side. And we're talking 85 knots on Sunday morning. That is still a very powerful hurricane. And, everybody at the Hurricane Center is very good in what they do, and so, you got to follow them whenever I do these updates. I give my opinions, but you always have to follow the officials. And I'm going to tell you, I'm with the officials on this. I think this general west-northwest track is pretty good, especially the way that ridge of high pressure is going to build back in and continue Florence on a west-northwest course. So it might move a little bit north of this, it might move a little bit south, but generally somewhere between Bermuda and the Bahamas. Come up, pretty mom. No, that's pretty funny. Here is the center relocation down in here, and you can see the pattern with Florence is getting better organized, especially on the eastern side, which doesn't bode well, by the way, for 91L. But you can see still lacking good banding features on the western side, but I'm telling you, this is bigger than Francis. I can't Floyd, Francis, Florence. This is bigger than Francis was in 2004, and so if this does become a strong hurricane, which it probably will, it could be a large, strong hurricane, which is typical of eastern seaboard or Cape Verde type hurricanes. You can see the shear has been a little bit brisk near the tropical cyclone, but it's going to lessen significantly as Florence moves west under the ridge. And remember Floyd, Isabel, Francis, Andrew, how many hurricanes have just bottomed out while moving under a ridge? Uh, all the ones last year in the Gulf, Katrina, Rita. So again, we're going to probably be dealing with a powerful hurricane. You could definitely tell we're nearing the peak of hurricane season when the entire Caribbean and Gulf is just as favorable as you could get. Look at all these blues in here. And even the dark greens are kind of low shear, so everything's trending very favorable for anything to enter the Caribbean, which could happen with 91L. Okay, but first here's the model guidance on Florence, and you can see here's the current motion 5 days out. There's the Hurricane Center track. Everything else is to the north and east. But with the center fix further south, you're going to wait and see what are these models going to do if they have to shift westward. So it's going to be very interesting. Behind Florence, there is 91L, and you can see another wave coming off. This wave, by the way, is a little bit too far south, but it could come back under the radar, i.e. Ernesto, in a couple of days. Keep an eye on it. But this is 91L, definitely a good candidate to become Gordon. However, it's going to run into some problems. Here's the model spread, and you're going, what's with the spaghetti model plot? I mean, I love spaghetti, but look at this stuff. This is everywhere. Well, what we're dealing with is you got Florence here, and you have 91L here, and Florence is large, especially on its eastern side, so it really looks like that. And Florence is going to move west-northwest and then back to the west. So if you're going to have interaction with these two, like a Fujiwara effect, this one is probably going to move a little bit westward and then probably kind of come up and around under Florence. That's what I kind of guess would happen. And I'm wondering if that's what the models are trying to hint here with this southern bend. Others are kind of taking it north, getting sheared away almost by Florence's outflow. And that could happen as well. So it's going to be interesting to watch. The 0Z Canadian, 144 hours, there goes Florence, there goes our other system, and behind it is a wave coming off Africa. GFDL 126 hours. This is as of 6Z. Has the storm as a Category 4 hurricane barreling between the island of Bermuda and the Bahamas. You can see the no gaps in 144 hours. There goes Florence, and here comes our other system, and behind it another wave. The NAM in 84 hours. Florence moving west, looking pretty good. 1020 millibar height, sun right over the top of it, which would be very favorable for intensification. GFS, 180 hours. There goes Florence. So the models are all in agreement on a westerly and then kind of a turn to the north, but again with the center fix and with how strong the short wave might be digging in to erode away the ridge and open a weakness by the time Florence gets near the Bahamas, it's going to be pretty interesting to watch. Now I know there are probably tons of storms that I'm missing, or at least a couple of storms I'm missing, that have taken a Florence type track. But here's my problem. This storm, Floyd, we all remember Floyd 7 years ago, is a great analog for Florence as of now. A storm that begins here, moves west-northwest, doesn't consolidate right away. Perfect, right? Almost gets pulled into a weakness, gets shoved under a ridge, becomes a strong hurricane. Ridge kind of erodes, up comes the storm. This is a good track, but take this track and shift it a little bit more east. That's what we could see, a track more like this. My problem was I couldn't find one. I looked everywhere and I'm probably missing one, but I couldn't find one, so Floyd's the analog I kind of went with. If I would have found one that went out to sea that was like that track, I probably would have. Now you're going here, 1851, 2003, all the tropical storms within 200 miles of Florence. Look, they all turned out. Well, that's true, but look where they formed. They formed out here. They formed out here. Now, Florence did form in this area, but again, we're talking about the majority of these storms forming anywhere before 20 west and 40 west. Florence formed after 40. Francis formed after 40. Floyd formed after 40. Andrew formed after 40. So you have to take into account. Now, I'm not saying that it can't turn, but you have to take into account what will happen with it. It's going to have to be a gradual westward bend with a northern turn as the ridge erodes. It's not just going to be a turn like Debbie was. Okay, so a lot of things to watch with Florence, no doubt. What was once a Category 4 Hurricane John has been nothing left, although it did cause some problems as it came up here in the Baja. Christy has come back as a tropical storm, but is forecast to move west and not intensify. And in the western Pacific, Ioki is finally weakened down to a tropical storm, and it's going to be out of here by Wednesday night. And you can see its long reign of amazement. And you can see it started way down here in the central Pacific. You're thinking, oh, another system in the Pacific. Wow, could become a hurricane. It bottoms out, goes to a Cat 4, weakens to a Cat 2, comes back to a Cat 5, slows down, goes down to a Cat 4, back to a Cat 5, becomes a super typhoon, down to a Cat 4, back to a Cat 5, down to a Cat 4, devastates Wake Island. Well, I don't know if it devastated it per se, but it certainly struck it. And then has continued basically on this track, so a classic tropical cyclone, no doubt. And there it goes off well into the northern Pacific Ocean. I'm Mike Naso. That's the latest on Florence. I'll see you next time.